Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. In this video, I'll be going through my AFL fantasy team round 15 review in what was a pretty positive round for me, just outside of the top 1,000 ranks, which, I mean, when you look at it, with all the scores that we did get, like I will look at some of the scoring, I did get extremely lucky, but I also look at my scores and go, what could have been? There was a lot of scores here that will go through that could have easily been really like a better score. Like I ended up scoring in 1987. I probably could have ended up, I reckon, scoring maybe 2050, 2060 if I had just one or two premiums fired, because yeah, in the end I had a couple of premiums really underscore that are probably going to go now that they are just really lagging in their scoring in the recent times. But anyway, let's jump into this video. So as you can see, I ended up scoring a 1987 and a round rank of 1085, and then an overall rank, it jumped up from around 14,900 to that 11,291. So what's that? A rank rise of almost 3,700 or 3,600 or so. So that's a huge rank rise in a buy round. So yeah, really happy about that, and I'm really happy with the sort of exposure that I've got in round 16 to the buy. I don't think it's as much as some other people, and I'm severely taking a lot of it out, even getting rid of one of my premiums on that round, that being Zach Merritt to basically Bontempelli, because I just cannot be having the likes of Zach Merritt on the buy, but also his run home. Bontempelli might outscore him by 200, 300 points in 8 weeks with the way that Zach Merritt is fluctuating at the moment. Like Zach Merritt's last 5 is a 94.6, and that still includes that big 149, but if you take his last 3, it's a 76. Bont could be putting 40 points per game on him for the rest of the year, like being semi-realistic. I know Zach Merritt's going to be like first pick next year if he's averaging 90 odd this year. That's how obvious it's going to be. And then even Caleb Tarong started to come back mad in the last couple of weeks. But yeah. Anyway, first of all, what I wanted to do is just show you that I did get a little bit lucky. Last round, if we just go here and we go here, didn't have Whitfield. A lot of people had him. Didn't have Treloar. Not many people had him. Merritt, as you can see, my trades are already actually in, but Merritt is the only one that's going to show. But Merritt, you can see I copped to that. Jack Steele, some people had him. Toby Nankervis had a stinker as well. Setterfield, not many people had him. Errol Gordon coming back, so that'll be interesting. He's gonna be one that you hope we hope we get 10 games into, just so that it resets his scoring, and then next year he'll be a lot better off because of it. I have a feeling. Even Holmes had a 71, and now he's on the buy and will be have a 116, 115 break even. So glad that I missed that. Tom De Koning didn't have the best display. A lot of people have him still. I think he's still 20% owned. 18. Graham Myers as well, another forward. He's stuffed up. He's 12% owned. Then you've got even Nick Martin, 85. So we're starting to get to the guys where you're like, it's not the best, not the worst. But he's a guy that's probably going to go and he's probably going to struggle. Well, he's got the Suns post by. If he goes and scores like a 60 or 70 again, or even just an 80, he's going to be a guy that's going to drop into our range as well. And then Bailey Dale, a lot of people have him as well, and he scored an 87. So you can kind of see how a lot of these guys, even Ed Richards didn't score as well, but he's not as highly owned. But you can kind of see how I got a little bit lucky with that, that my pod sort of went off. So in the end, Rosie, 44% owned. He's just been outstanding, and he did have an off week, but that kind of helps that he's gone and turned up in those previous 5 games, so it's not that big of an issue. Wanganeen Malira, between him and Sinclair, they went 189 points, but would have liked, obviously, just that sort of 210, 220 between those two. That's sort of what you look at for each week, and it just looks like Sinclair had a stinker week. It's his lowest score since round 8, and aside from that, I wouldn't be surprised if you said he hasn't had more than 260 scores per season. Like this was just an absolute stinker, and he came back in the last quarter and really scored well. I think he scored something like doubled his points in the last quarter, but yeah, just a stinker. Dane Zorko, He went 125, 124. He wasn't doing well at halftime, if my memory serves me correct, and then just went off, especially in the last quarter. I want to say he had a 50-point last quarter, but I could be wrong because he just started getting a lot of just cheap possessions in the last quarter when the game was over. If I look at it here just quickly, he ended up with 42 points in the last quarter and 41 points in the third. So he had 22 touches in the last 2 quarters out of his 33. So he had 22 out of his 33 touches in the last 2 quarters. And yeah, he was just absolutely amazing in that second half. 5 marks, 2 tackles as well. To get 83 points is a huge second half. Callum Mills and Harry Sheezel. Harry Sheezel, really happy about this. He just keeps on producing. He's going at 107, which if you look at it pre-season, you would have said that's basically what he was priced at anyway. So for him to be doing that, that's amazing. And he isn't even the top defender. You've got Wanganeen Malira and also, Wanganeen Malira and then also Zorko slightly above him. And then you've got Harry Sheezel just below that. And then, Whitfield's now down below that because of that injury. Which will help us dramatically, can I just say, because he'll have a 151 break even. He will come back post-bye against the Eagles. We will say thank you. That'll be a 120, 130 score. That'll knock his break even down even more. Knock him down even more. If we just look at this, I'm going to just quickly do this anyway. I'm just going to quickly look at it for you guys, but I'm pretty sure you're going to find me picking up Lachie Whitfield in round sort of 18 or so for round about, or maybe even, round 18 or so. If we just go here, Lachie Whitfield, let's make it so that we single him out. If we say he's going to score a 125 or something like that, then he gets to a 921 and basically regulates around there. If we say he's going to average 120 for the rest of the year, let's just look at that. He basically stops at around that 920 marker, and he was looking at 1.1 mil just a little while ago. So to be able to get him 180k cheaper, roughly, is absolutely huge. Obviously, he has the bye this week, but yeah, we'll see him regulate, I feel like, and be able to grab him in a couple weeks' time, probably against the likes of Geelong is when we will grab him, because I have a feeling he wouldn't be surprised if he has a good record against Geelong. But if he doesn't, then we just pass on him another week and we wait and we wait and we wait. If we just look at Geelong here quickly, you'll see he's gone 112, 113, 93, 102, 90, 103 against them. So that's a pretty good record. And then I believe he's got Essendon and then also, Essendon and then Sydney. If we look at Essendon quickly here, he's gone 132, 112, 100, 102, 77 against them. And then Sydney, he's also gone 88, tagged, 77, 48, 108, 94, 107. So in the end, it actually might come down to a factor of, do we actually need him in that run? Just thinking about it, because he might score, he's gone 77, 48, and then 108, 94, 107. So he didn't even get tagged in round 8 this year when the Swans won. So it will be interesting to see if they do tag him in that game. But that could come into consideration, because he might be a pick for these 3 games here. Rounds 22, 23, 24, when they could be potentially chasing finals at that point, or be in and around the mix. And he's got North, Gold Coast, and St Kilda. That's what we're looking at there, and that would complete it would overload the defense, but the defenders are where it's at the moment, it feels like. Nick Dacos 102 through a tag, and now he's got the West Coast Eagles. That's a VC candidate if I've ever seen one. Jai Caldwell 109, we sort of called this. I don't know when I brought him in. I want to say I've brought him in for the last 3 weeks. I want to say I didn't think I brought him in for the Brisbane game. But let's actually just check that. When did I bring him in? Did I bring him in round 12? No, I didn't have him round 12. I brought him in round 13. Yes, brought him in round 13 for the 110. And he's gone and just done immaculate in those 3 rounds. I think he's averaging 113.7 in the last 3, which is huge. And yeah, he's averaging 106 for the year. Zach Merritt, we know, is going. Caleb Sarong 137. He is back to his best. Now he's got St Kilda. I wonder if they run with the Windy tag this week, just because he has been on a tear in the last couple of weeks, getting 36 and 35 touches, alongside averaging 3.5 marks and also 7 tackles and a goal and a half a game. If he can continue that, he's going to go nuts, and he might actually price himself out of being an option next year just because he's on an absolute tear at the moment. But we've seen him go on tears like this for 5-6 weeks where he just averages 130 or so. We saw it last year to start the year, and then he averaged like 90 for the rest. Could we be seeing the backflip of it where he goes off in the second half of the year and averages 130 or so? Sam Doherty, he was back to his best, and this is sort of what I wanted to see. If you think about it, I basically got him in and averaged 100 in the time that he's been there, and now he's got a really low break even as well, which is really good because at the end of the day, if he doesn't work out, if he isn't going to continue on with the 100 average or so, we're making cash so quickly. Like if he scores another, if we just go here to Doherty, go back out of the Whitfield one and go to the midfield Doherty. If we say Doherty's going to average, let's just go a tentative 95 in the next 3 games, we will just chuck that in 95 in the next 3. And put that in, you'll see he gets up to 928k. That's an easy player flip. That's a rookie up. That's like 400k. Even getting rid of like a Camperelli, or you might only need 50, 60, 70k at that point to get to someone. Maybe even someone like you wouldn't want it for the scenario that I pointed out earlier with Errol Goulden, but Errol Goulden could come down sharply in price because he's just sort of getting himself match fit. Let's just look at that. 147 break even. He's probably going to come down, you would expect, if we just look at this with scores of 90, he's going to come down about 120k in the next 3 weeks. Well, that's not 120k, that's 69, 70, 110k in the next 3 weeks, puts him at 970k, 965k. And that's in perfect range for Doherty averaging 95. So yeah, I could see that with I could actually see that with Errol Goulden. Some people going hard matchup. Easy. And then comes into Brisbane, Geelong, and then West Coast in round 24. He's a guy that I'm just sort of keeping on the radar potentially. Once he gets match fit, he's going to start racking the ball up. And then you've got Sheldrick 70. He's probably going to go in the next week or 2. I think just because he's a midfielder that has the potential. Like we've seen last 5 matches, 81. He has the potential to go like a 90 or something like that, which I'm hoping he does, because he did sort of sit in the forward pocket in the last quarter of the game on the weekend. But they do have the Dogs, which will be a tough matchup for Sydney, and I'm hoping he's the one that sort of can just sort of tackle away in that midfield and really do it. I know he only had 2 tackles, which was a very, very low marker. Usually he's up around that 5-6, which is probably the difference between him going that sort of 85-90 marker, to be honest with you. And then Sinclair, we already talked about him having a stinker. And then Zach Johnson just came on here for a 35, which didn't end up counting. But I mean, just a really doesn't matter in the end. But I mean, cash gen from him. And now he's on the bye, but he's still got a 9 break even. So if he can come back and go bang in the next week, he will probably get to that 550k, 600 marker. Brody Grundy, I brought him in for the likes of Max Gawn, which could be scary in the next couple of weeks, especially because, I didn't get the sort of Luke Jackson big score, but we do have Western Bulldogs next week, which Western Bulldogs, if we just go quickly to the likes of this last 10 games for the ruck, Western Bulldogs are a minus 1.74. That's mostly because Nankervis had a stinker against them. If you take Nankervis's game out, and Rowan Marshall had a 52 against them, but Rowan Marshall backed it up a couple of weeks ago with a 1-9. So I'm not too concerned about that actually. In the long run, these rucks, they do tend to do well. And the likes of, if we just even look at the sort of games here against the likes of the Western Bulldogs, if we go to their game against Richmond, who had a majority of the hitouts, 28 hitouts to 28. So he actually did all right there. And then the week before that, if we just quickly go, I know this one's doing a more roundabout sort of look at it, but if we go to also, I just want to check as well, because I can do it this way, Grundy's games against the likes of the Western Bulldogs, because I'm pretty sure he scores rather well against them, but that could obviously be wrong. Let's go here. Western Bulldogs, he averages 107.8 against as well. And last time out against the Western Bulldogs, he went 109 in round 20 of 2024. And then in round 11 of 2020, 4, he went 119. So, and he's also done it in big in the past as well. But last 2 times out against Tim English, he's had 46 and 43 hitouts. So will be interesting there to see how he goes. And they're also, the Western Bulldogs are also off of a 5-day break, I believe. As we see here, they played the last game of the round Sunday and they're up on the Friday. So that is a 5-day break compared to Sydney having a 6-day break, which that could be a big difference, especially in the ruck department. Tristan Cherry, he had a stinker, but he comes up against the Hawks. Hopefully he can score well next week. But yeah, that 84, it is what it is. A lot of people copped it just because he is like 70% owned in the top sort of 10K, maybe even 80% owned in the top 10K. Then you've got Bailey Smith, 94. He's probably going to drop in cash now. You could almost look at potentially trading him out. But then again, you look at his past scores and you go, he scored 136, 147, 126, 123. Like, there's a chance he just hits that 140 break even. And there is a it's going to be very, very hard to get him back in now with 2 trades if you were to trade him out. Just because 3 trades, it's a lot easier. But with 2 trades, it would be almost like trading a Doherty for me or something like that to get him out, to get him back in. Sorry. And there's no real point, to be honest with you, because I've got other tradable assets at this point, and I've got McCarthy, a rookie that I can really just go down to, and it'll be an easy out there. Kennedy, 114. He was good as well, which was good. Gotta quicken this up a little bit. Jack McRae, 104 as well. Really good to see him back doing his best. He only had 71%, so he is starting to worry me with the TOG, but he is still scoring, which is good. But we'll see how that develops over the rest of the season. Petrarca used him as a captaincy to get the Caleb Sarong score, which was good. Sam Darcy, he came up against Richmond and just flattened them against Bolter. So it'll be interesting against Sydney, being that Sydney don't have a guy within 15 centimeters of him. So that'll be interesting. And then Cooper Lord had a shocker and will be out of my side as he was subbed out on 24 basically halfway through the 3rd quarter or something like that. So that really was poor. And then basically my whole bench didn't play. I mean, I could have got Matt Carroll on, but he wouldn't have actually mattered in the end, I don't think, as I had a 35 and a 24 anyway. And then that was about it. So he would have just been a drop-off score anyway. So rather take the Clark score, which got me an extra 2 or 3 points, I think, something like that. So yeah, that is in the end the video there. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and I will see you guys in the next video, which will be the Supercoach team reveal, team review for round 15, and then you'll have my trade target videos out, I think, on the next day. I think they're going to come out on Wednesday if I get them recorded in due course. So I'll see you guys in those videos. Bye, guys.